all the staff is doing such a wonderful job. Amen. The staff of our church is serving so well and so long and so many hours, and you're doing a great job in transportation, parking, and the dining room, and the ushers, usherettes, nursery area. And by the way, an announcement for you mothers with children, that would be from 4 years old through 11 years old on Friday through Sunday. The nursery staff, they're having children's church in the school building. So if you have children in that age and you want them to be there, that you may, some 11-year-olds are very mature and very much able to sit in the sanctuary, 10-year-old or 9-year-old, but if you felt that they would be learning, they have a wonderful Bible program there that is being taught in that school from 11 to 3. They'll be in session down there. And the children's church, the school building is south. The ushers can tell you where it is on the campus. And it's south of here, the sanctuary. And they have a classroom reserved there and among the saints for keeping in the school building from the Miami area. And we really appreciate those that have come and are accepting our facilities there for their time here in the convention in our school building. But they have reserved some classrooms there for our children. So keep that in mind, mothers, fathers, if you feel your child would be learning and better than being in the sanctuary, you make that decision. As I said, some 8, 9-year-olds, 11-year-olds are very mature, and they can sit here and absorb much of what God would do here and will do among his people and his ministry in this meeting. And so we welcome you to Bradenton. Let me enunciate that by saying wherever you have come from, and we have representation here from across the seas as well as the United States. It is an international meeting, and you have made it so because we have, I believe, 3 from Nairobi, Kenya, and we have, I believe that number is from Kenya. We're so happy to see Brother and Sister Retivi from Nairobi. And we welcome them again. They are here usually with us in our annual convention. We've grown accustomed to having them, and we love them and appreciate them and the ministry that he has stretches across the world now. And we certainly appreciate them coming, taking the time to be here with us in this convention. And they've done that the last few years. Brother Simba, likewise from, I believe there's 6 from Zimbabwe, and we're honored to have them from that beautiful country. And and for the first time, his lovely wife, Sister Portia, would you stand, please? Sister Mary and you stand together. Kenya and Zimbabwe here. Happy to see you and to have you. And we welcome you from those lovely countries, those beautiful countries that God has let us visit one of them, and not privileged yet to be in the other, but we always appreciate the strength that these brethren bring from the continent of Africa and the ministry they have across the world. And here in our meeting, it's a privilege and honor, as well as the brethren from Haiti. We have several brethren here. Let me see, where is Brother George? Brother George, stand, Brother George. He's from Haiti. He's a resident of Haiti. And here's Pastor Luke. You see Pastor Luke from Haiti. They have active churches, orphanages, schools in Haiti. and we're glad to have them from the country of Haiti. And I don't mean to leave anybody out from that country. I've been in Haiti, and I love the beautiful country of Haiti. And we're blessed to have some saints from that country in our church here. And then, of course, always recognize the pastors that they labor both in Haiti and in America. And they're close to us, good friends, the Miami area. And Brother Gizme, right here, stand Brother Gizme, where are you? From the Miami area. Maybe anyone else from the Miami area here that these brethren, Brother Lunar will be here later with about 60 to 65 saints from Orlando and that area, and so they'll be in later this evening. But we welcome these men that labor both in Haiti and in America, working and helping the churches. And then we have we're so blessed to have our brethren here from the United States, both the local ministry in this church here. Glad to see Brother Carlson able to be in the service. He's been Dennis Carlson, one of the pastor of the Hartford, Connecticut church years gone by, and other ministries, Brooklyn, labored in, and other ministries in Jamaica. So we're happy to have him able to be up and about and doing the job. And glad Brother Harris from Blair, Mississippi, one of my brethren that labored here with me in associate ministry 35 years. He took a bad fall, fell down a flight of stairs, or that is not a flight of stairs, actually from the second story, wasn't it, Brother Harris? Up there, he's works for the city there, also besides pastoring, doing the work of the Lord for the Blair, Mississippi church. But somehow his feet got tangled or something happened, and he fell from a second floor down. Was it a ladder?
No, it was a flight of stairs.
A flight of stairs.
Framed in.
Framed in, flight of stairs. And he fell down those stairs and broke his body up badly. He's better now, but he's still suffering some. And came to this meeting actually by faith, trusting God to touch him and to help him. And we're glad to see him here. We're glad to see him here. I'm really happy that he's come. And then from across the United States, and as I said last night, I didn't want to call names last night, but I do want the people here to know these brethren, and if I leave someone out, I don't mean to do that. We have other ministers here in the church that Bradenton that I could call their names, and I think they'll overlook me doing that right now. But we have several states here represented, several brethren from across the United States, and they brought up several saints, 12, 13, 14, 15 saints over on the East Coast for the Garrett, right, Brother Joe Garrett from West Palm, and his dear wife out here in the congregation from West Palm Beach, up front here, West Palm Beach. And we're so happy to have these brethren with us, and they come, they support this ministry, this church, convention. We be brethren here in the state working together. They know I love them and they love me. And up in Arkansas, and then Brother, let me get in the state here, Brother Zonaville, who is associate here in this ministry for 50 years or more. He's been associated with the Bradenton Church from a young man in the ministry, up through the ministry ranks, and now is growing, pastoring over in Sebring, Florida. 59 years. And now has a growing, thriving work in Sebring. There's several saints here from that area. And glad to have Brother and Sister Zonaville with us in this meeting. Brother John grew up under our ministry here and is doing a good work there in Sebring, Florida, about 80 miles east of us here. We're certainly thankful. I have Brother Hart, Brother Rick Hart, that was at our meeting last year, and we know him and we love him, and I've been in his church, had a tremendous weekend there in Walnut Ridge, Arkansas.
Yes, sir.
He and his dear wife and saints from Walnut Ridge and that section up there in Arkansas. We're glad to see the only state in the Bible from here, Arkansas. We're very happy to have Arkansas represented. He's a preacher. He's really a preacher. And that's a thriving work up there. If you go to Walnut Ridge, you'll find a packed out church and people growing in the Lord, wonderful spirit there, and we certainly appreciate them. Then from way, I think he had 3 plane changes coming over so far out from Merced, California. Brother Wetterman here. We're glad to see Brother Wetterman. He always comes and lifts her hand in the Bradenton Convention. He's been to our assembly, spent days here with me in the ministry. Dear friend, I love him. Sister Wetterman's coming in, isn't she? She'll be in today. And so, a long-time friend of mine, nearly 60 years, I think, with the Aaron Moore sitting over there on this, in Tampa, Florida. But they were great to see you. God bless you. Happy that you're here. We heard Brother McMicken, Sister McMicken sing last night. After about 7 years, he's back in our convention. Brother McMicken and Sister McMicken, they sang, blessed us. He was from Jasper, Alabama. He's not from there now. He married a Pennsylvania girl. I don't know if she's Dutch or not, but Pennsylvania anyhow. Sister Jennifer. And now he's traveling in the ministry, doing the work of the Lord. And we're glad to see Brother McMicken back again with us. I know we'll hear from him before the meeting's over. Brother and Sister Gunter, his wife is right down here from Greenville, Tennessee, pastors a church there. Brother Gunter, stand up and let them see you. God bless Brother Gunter. Greenville, Tennessee, up in that area. We're so happy that you're here with us. And then looking back, some brethren from Sebring, and then Darlene, I mentioned you, Brother George, Brother Garrett, and down in Spring, Texas, Brother David Peace. Brother David, I've known him, I was in his father's home, Brother Frank Peach. He was the man that gave the altar call for T.M. Jolly to come to the Lord. His father, Frank Peach, he was a mighty evangelist. He and I used to hold revivals together. I'd start one, he'd finish it. He'd start one and I'd finish it. He'd call me, Brother Marlowe, I've got a revival, I can't let it go. Down in Iuka, Mississippi, had people looking in the windows of the church, opened the doors up, couldn't get in the building. You got to come down, I got to go home, take care of some things. Come down here and finish the revival. I'd go down south and pick it up where he left off, and that was his father. But David was, I was in the home, stayed all night. We traded pulpits. How old were you, Brother Peach? 11, 12? 10 years old when I was in that home and did that. But I'm so honored to have Spring, Texas. He and Sister Barbara sitting out here, Peach. We're so glad they came to the meeting. Brother, a man that supports this meeting, not only just with his prayers, but he and the wife and son every year financially lift this meeting. I honor them for that. They live up in Kingsport, but Brother, he's been here many years with us. Brother Edwin White, Sister White. Brother White, hold your hand up over there and let them see a long-time friend of the body of Christ, a long-time friend of the ministry. And so, some local brethren back there, Zimbabwe, and then my neighbor, I think he's my closest neighbor here, Brother Valentine. I was with him in service in Tampa the other night. Brother Valentine, you're one of the brethren that works in Haiti, out of America, has a lovely church in Tampa. God bless Brother Valentine. Praise the name of the Lord. There's some other brethren here from Sebring and Brother Richard Hand up in Chattanooga, Tennessee right now. Brother Richard, wave your hand, you and Sister Linda. Brother Richard Blair, Brother Harris, here in Bradenton with us. And then he was many years under Brother ministry and help me, I got a mental blank, in Wood River, Brother Gorman. Brother Gorman in Wood River, Illinois. And we know, so you can see we've had a lot of association with God's people. Now, I want to get west now, and a man that stood by this ministry helped us. We go out and see him, lift their hands up. He got one of my young men out of this church. But I let him, praise God. I love it. In fact, what can you do when a young man marries a preacher's daughter? You can't. You don't have any argument with that, do you? How are you going to put any roadblocks in that way? Brother Howard. Brother Howard, praise God. We did get you up so high. We got you up so high. But he and Sister Jill. Where's Jill? Where's Jill? Way back there's Jill. You got little Jackson back there? Is he asleep? He's asleep. I'd have you hold him up, but he's asleep. Anyway, now they have little Jackson, Jill and Jackson and Brother Howard. But he's helping Brother Myers, and I think he's doing a good job out there, working good with Brother Myers. Brother Myers, lift your hand up. Let them see Brother Myers from Amarillo. Back of him was the man that I held a meeting in the Civic Auditorium here. I took the church and we had a meeting in the large Civic Auditorium where you cross the river, and we had a week's meeting there. The Lord really blessed the city and blessed us. And we, one night in the meeting, he was a fire battalion chief, and in the city here, he was out in the congregation. I was preaching on a woman pressing her way through the crowd, touching the hem of his garment. Brother Paul D, stand up and see this ex-fireman here. And he's up in Georgia now, but he's preaching the ministry up there. Talking about the work of Brother Paul D. Glad to have him. Over here, of course, Brother Buddy and Brother Hank and Brother John, brethren here in this church. We just really appreciate all of everyone. Brother Lonnie Rhodes back in the back, one of the elders here of the church. And then who could forget Brother Deloy Smith? Nobody that's ever met him in a lifetime can forget Brother Deloy Smith. They told me that last night that you and Lonnie and who else was with you in that gang that hung out last night? Who? Brother Wetterman. I said when I heard the news you all were out discussing the scriptures, I said, Bradenton will never be the same after that. Never. But Brother Smith now has grown that professional beard. Looks nice, doesn't he? I appreciate Brother Smith. Held revivals for this man in Mayfield, Kentucky. What was it, 1975?
5 or 6.
And we had people looking in the windows there, and a packed out house. In fact, we aroused the church next door to us so badly that they started sending out smoke signals. We had to shut the revival down. We had a great revival, and a great meeting, and the Lord blessed, and we just had a good time. These are my friends. These are my friends. They're your friends. And we're friends together. Now, last of all, I want to introduce a dear man that I've met. He came down and visited our church. He saw us on YouTube. And by the way, that camera is taking us all over the world. Right now, you're all over the world in this meeting. I had a call from Ghana 2 days ago. A minister in Ghana. That's West Africa, isn't it? He said he saw the service on YouTube, and he wanted to tell us how much he enjoyed it. I haven't got to meet him. I didn't get the call that came in the office, but this camera takes us all over the world, and we meet people from all over the world that way. They call, family from Israel, different places. They'll let us know they're out there listening, looking. And a few weeks ago, I met Brother Randy Wilkes. Brother Randy, hold up your hand down there, Brother Randy. Praise God, praise God, praise God. Where's Sister Wilkes? She right there? Hey, there she is right there. That woman can sing.
Yes, she can.
And got a whole group of his folks from Macon, Georgia, sitting out there. A brand new assembly. living in a house right now, but God is going to, he's not new to the ministry. He's supported, worked with, helped another man of God for 20 years there in Macon that saw us on YouTube, and they told him a lot of things, that we were dead, hardly could go, getting rather decrepit, not living, shuffling along in life. I think they might have said we had some dementia, I'm not sure. You know, they said a lot of things about the church here, but he didn't believe them. He looked at YouTube and saw we're still very much alive. Praise the name of the Lord. And so he gathered his wife and his son. They came down and spent a weekend with us, and said, Brother Randy, he said, Brother Marlowe, I'll be back to the convention. I want to be there in that meeting. So we want to pray for the saints in Macon, Georgia. God will bless them, and this new work will prosper and grow in God, because it's blessed of the Lord, I'm sure, have this man of God with us. I left anybody out. Want me to do that. Local people know. But I appreciate you. I wanted you to get acquainted with who is sitting up here before you, and there's some out there I may have overlooked. If I do, you catch my ear about it before the day is over, and we'll make you welcome. And then, yes, I heard a voice back of me, and I know where we're going already. Now, I don't mean to leave you out, Sister Emma Neff, but Sister Emma Neff, I think she's our sister, lady, woman pastor sitting up here from Cadillac, Michigan. We're honored to have Sister Emma Neff. Never leave her out. Sometimes I just will go past him, but I'll come back. Pardon me? Did I leave Brother Banning out? Did I leave that?
I was so proud.
Oh,
Most people shake hands with him and ignore
me. I said last night, when you start calling names, you'll leave somebody out. But Brother Manning from Kingsport, Tennessee, the New Destiny. Let me see New Destiny hands up here. All the New Destiny, here they are down in front here. New Destiny, and it is a moving, powerful church in Kingsport, Tennessee. And I've been there many times, several times, enjoyed myself. I enjoy going to, and Brother Manning and I are close brethren in ministry. And I love him, appreciate this man that is taking the steps God wants him to, doing what God would have him to do in Kingsport. And we appreciate him very, very much as people. And we just thank the Lord for all of you. Now, if I've left anybody out, catch me. I don't leave anyone out.
Sister William.
We got Sister William.
Oh, yes, Sister William. I saw her last night. Where's Sister William now? Sister Williams, I want you to stand up for a minute. Yes, stand up. You've got to stand up. This is a lady that can preach the gospel. She can pray for you. You'll be healed in the faith you have, in the faith of the Lord Jesus Christ. She can sing the gospel. She can preach. The West Palm Beach Church is in existence because of her labor and Brother J.D. Williams, who now is with the Lord. But they're the reason that man sitting back there, a scientist, but God, a rocket scientist. But he came to the church a broken man, not knowing where he was going, what he was going to do with his life. And God took that rocket scientist, changed him around through the ministry. We're honored to have you. We're honored to have you. And we really are glad you're. Now look what a gathering we have in Bradenton. And this is only a few. Now look at all the saints of God here, and all those working, giving, supporting, laboring. And you just should feel at home. Even if I left your name out, you should still feel at home. Got Sister Brenda Whitworth right here with two from up in Greenville, Mississippi, in South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina. And Sister Whitworth and her husband, John, is with the Lord now, at the church in Kings Mountain, worked here with us many years. and he's with the Lord, but Sister Brenda Whitworth still has a desire to be with God's people, to assemble with the family of God. And we're glad you're here from Greenville, South Carolina, you and the family, and related ones to you, and make yourself at home, all of you. Look at your neighbor right now and say, neighbor, make yourself at home. And if they frown at you, do it again. I didn't catch this fella right here, but I will. This man has been with me, I don't know how many years we've been together. Too long. About 50 years. And I love Brother George McCann. You that shared a little bit of his ministry last night, you know that this man has preached the gospel. And last night, the Spirit of the Lord came. He and his dear wife stood here. And if there was a dry in the house, I don't know where it was, because it all felt that beautiful Spirit. Dear wife Betty down there. Sister Betty, I want you to stand. Can you stand up a minute? Can you stand up? This is one of Sister Betty, you're better. She's better. And she's going to get better. Brother George fell on the way down here and split his thumb open, but God had Brother Hart nearby, and he'd been on blood thinner. Blood was all over the place. But God preserved him, kept him, and he didn't turn around and go back to Arkansas. They were up late in the morning, the emergency room, but they stayed and got back in the car and came on. I say thank you, Lord. Amen. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Amen.